that session we actually explained the existing coordination mechanisms as far as Pakistan is concerned, the government structure, and the WASH cluster, how it is functioning. The bottom line which we got out of this session was that we need to have more information sharing. The cluster members are accountable to the cluster. I think I'm mixing both, but I mean the presentation was such that it got mixed up. So the cluster members are responsible to the cluster as such. The cluster lead, the cluster coordinator is responsible to the country representative, and the country representative.
With the big question, what is working well with the WASH cluster? What needs to be improved? And what are the challenges, key challenges? So our group here comes up at that. The information sharing is going well here, and the workshop and training as well. But what we need to improve?
Cluster participation and coordination. I have the first diagram is one that I think is really a useful way of describing what we're trying to achieve within the cluster, change what we're doing as a result of it. So you're beginning to coordinate and avoid duplication and gaps. So that's better than just networking. But the next level is going beyond that, and it's called cooperating in this model. And that would be where you would be exchanging information, but you would also be sharing resources. So you might say, well, I've got some supplies or resources in my area, I'll share it with you. Or I've got a really good information management person, I can let you have that. So in collaborating, you're looking at how you can best use the resources that you have available. But the next level up is collaborating. And this is what we're aspiring to in the cluster. That you're doing all that, but you're also working together to collaboratively make your plans, make your decisions. And we go to a place called Naingoma. And it is a fictional place. But this is now, I think, the 20th cluster coordination training that I have run. And each time I use this case study of Naingoma, so I feel I live in Naingoma, you know? And you really need to help me make it better. It's so important. Things have got worse recently, and they have just decided to have the cluster approach. Yeah? It's Uzbekistan that's just happened. Anyway, they've just introduced the cluster approach. There are 450,000 refugees and IDPs, and the local population is 80,000. So 800,000, sorry. So it gives you an idea of the scale of the problem. The national capital is Abrahan, and it is outside the affected area. National capitals usually are. There's a provincial capital called Fajara, but it's also outside the affected area, and nothing much seems to happen there. But there are two district hubs, Suresh and Mali, and that's where most of the refugees and the IDPs are. So tomorrow, this group in Pakistan, we will have 2 cluster coordination meetings. We will have one at the national capital in Abrahan, and we'll have a second one in Suresh, in the affected area. And they will happen at the same time. And in Kabul, you will have one cluster coordination meeting, and I think it's going to be in Abrahan, in the capital. So that's the background of that. Just a little bit more. In terms of the humanitarian response so far, the priorities are seen as being the IDPs and the host families. That's the priorities that have been identified. There are still some ongoing risks of breakout of local conflict and possibly of epidemics. There are only a few international NGOs, and the capacity of the local NGOs is not so good, but there is a coordinating body that's been set up for national NGOs. The government has also set up a national committee for assistance of the displaced. And they have $1 million. So,
Good.
that's useful to know. There is a lot of media interest, but there's restricted access. And there are donors present. So that's also useful to know. So again, that's just a little bit about the kind of background there. And so the exercise tomorrow is that you will each attend a cluster coordination meeting. You will be given a role to play in this meeting. And the way we choose the roles is we try and give you a role that isn't your normal job. So you've already got a lot of experience of going to cluster meetings. We're going to give you a different hat to wear. Yeah? And let's see how that goes. Yeah? It's encouraging you to think about what it might be like from another perspective. And the aim is to draw out the challenges of coordination meetings and to look at how we can make them even more effective. It's not about your acting skills. You know, yes, we want to be in role and bring those roles to the meeting, but not necessarily go over the top, as we say. Yeah, so it's important to get that balance. The meetings will last maximum 45 minutes. So we're restricting the time, but that's good. Okay, how many of you have chaired a really bad meeting? Anybody else chaired a really bad meeting?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. This is confession time. Okay. How many of you have chaired a very good meeting?
Yes.
Me.
Yes? Please can we have the phone in silent?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we have collectively, around these two rooms, all the experience that you could possibly need in terms of running meetings. We know how to do it well, we know how to do it badly. But I want to share our collective wisdom and tips over the next just half an hour or so. A couple of slides, first of all, slides. One is on the guidance note, the ISE guidance note on meetings, where it sets out that for clusters and for cluster coordinators, there is a responsibility to ensure that meetings are well run and productive. And they should be rationalised in frequency and type. It's really important that people's time is used well, and there are often many meetings during emergencies. So it's about not everybody having meetings all the time, thinking sometimes you might be able to have a meeting with another cluster, or you might